So fructose is an extremely important part of the whole discussion, because fructose is also a sugar. So glucose is a sugar, fructose is a sugar, but the way that they get metabolized is extremely different. So fructose is found in fruit primarily, and also things like high fructose corn syrup, of course, have a lot of fructose in it. So when people were worried about fat, so 70s, 80s, 90s, it was all about fat. Fat was bad in all its forms. You know, nuts were bad, olive oil was bad, nobody ate avocados because that was just bad. So people believe that low fat was so bad for you. So therefore, sugar got sort of a free pass, even though it never really should have. Everybody knows sugar in excess was bad. They've known that for a long, long time. But because the focus now switched to dietary fat, people sort of relaxed on the sugar. So sucrose, which is table sugar, is composed of one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose. So when you eat carbohydrates like rice and potatoes and bread, there's no fructose in it. They're pretty much 100% chains of glucose. When you eat table sugar, it's sort of one glucose and one fructose. You can eat pure fructose, for example. You can eat fructose like high fructose corn syrup, which is sort of enriched in fructose. So when people looked at it, they said, well, first of all, the glycemic index of fructose is very low. That is, if you look at the blood glucose, when we talk about blood sugars, blood glucose. So if you eat glucose, your blood glucose goes up. If you eat fructose, your blood glucose doesn't go up because it's the fructose that's going up, not your glucose. So people actually thought this was actually extremely healthy for you. Through the 80s and 90s, people thought fructose was terrific. So high fructose corn syrup, terrific. It's sweet, doesn't raise your glycemic index, and it's low in fat. So what could be better? So of course, everybody's just pouring fructose into their diet through high fructose corn syrup. And it turns out that that was a really bad idea because of the way it's metabolized. So glucose is used by all cells of the body. So your heart, your liver, your kidneys, all of it uses glucose. So you eat bread, for example, you get a big slug of glucose, but all of your body is using it. So if you weigh 180 pounds, 180 pounds of your body is using glucose. When you eat the same amount of fructose, none of your cells can use it. It actually all goes straight into your liver because that's the only organ that can actually metabolize fructose. So instead of 180 pounds of body using glucose, you've got like 5 pounds of liver metabolizing this fructose. So what happens to the fructose? Well, you can turn it into glucose, but if you're eating table sugar where you've got lots of glucose and lots of fructose, your body doesn't need more glucose. So it takes this fructose and it turns it straight into liver fat. So now you've accelerated that process of fatty liver, which is going to lead to abdominal obesity, which is going to lead to high blood sugars, which is going to lead to hyperinsulinemia, fatty pancreas, the whole works. So therefore, sugar is actually sort of extremely bad just in the way it's metabolized, because your body can't burn it off to the same degree. You're sort of bypassing the normal process where, you know, your lungs and your heart are burning off glucose. The fructose bypasses that entire sort of usage point and goes straight into the liver and just turns straight into sort of liver fat, which is the most dangerous fat you have. So that's why as we went low fat in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, sugar, consumption increased so much, and people had recognized pretty well by this point that really cutting out sugars is probably one of the most important things. I don't think anybody disagrees on that.
If you enjoyed that clip, press here for the full episode. I'll see you over there.
They were all on insulin, and within a month, all three of them were off of all their insulin. And they'd been on the insulin for like 20 years, right? So 20 years, they got off in a month. So calories are a distraction because the body doesn't